Hello, Namaskar, Jai Jagannath. I welcome you to the second part of this video on the basic preparation strategy for the OPSC or Municipal Administrative Services Examination 2022. For those of you who are watching this video for the first time, I tell you that I had already prepared one video, the first part of which, in which I have discussed about foolproof strategy. So those of you who are able to, find out time for yourself and able to fully concentrate on an exhaustive strategy, I would advise you to please go with that. For those of you who would wish to, go with a smart strategy, or for that matter, a strategy which may not be very foolproof, but certainly it will take less amount of time as compared to the other strategy that I had discussed. They can go with this one. So, what you need to do is that for paper one, you take up one a standard GK book, say for example the Lucent's GK. See, let me first of all disclaim that I had not followed any of these strategies because as I had told in the previous video, I had done a very exhaustive preparation. So for another examination, so this was a low hanging fruit for me. So I am suggesting this just as an alternative strategy, thinking that this should work. But you should do your own homework and find out the best strategy for yourself in consultation with your teachers and your friends. So what you can do is you take up one standard GK book. Let's say the Lucent's GK. ठीक अच्छी. You can take up that. Along with that, what you can do is you can refer to all the previous year questions. The previous year questions are going to tell you what areas are the favorite areas of the OPSC. बहुत समय कौन हुए, most of the questions they tend to get repeated. तो जदि आपण एएसओ रो मु लास्ट वीडियो रे जेमति कहितली एएसओ रो सब ओडिसा सिविल सर्विसेस रो जते वर्ष हिची एग्जाम लास्ट 5-6 वर्ष रो एटलीस्ट आउ ओएमएस 2019 नो ए सबु रो जदि आपण सब क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करि देबे, व्हाट यू विल हैव विथ यू इज अ गुड क्वेश्चन बैंक फर्स्ट. ता भितर क्वेश्चन रिपीट हबार डिसेंट चांसेस रहिबो सबु बेले एज हैज बीन ऑब्जर्व्ड. In addition to that, jodi apna if you can do an exercise, you will see that ko area ro OPSC mostly questions pacharuchi, which are the favorite areas of OPSC from which questions are mostly asked. Actually this varies from exam to exam. If you analyze the past year questions of UPSC civil service exam, it has got a different trend as compared to the Odisha civil services exam. The Odisha civil services exam may have got a different trend from the ASO and all, but mostly because the basic syllabus of the OPSC examinations for these general studies papers are one and the same. My conjecture is that there will be a similarity in the areas from which most of the questions shall be asked. Secondly, what you can do is you can take up any test series. There are a lot of coaching institutes. I had not taken any test series for this, but for those of you who are specifically preparing for this examination with all your focus and concentration, gote test series kichi bhi uthandu. Gote test series kichi bhi uthantu. Just solve as many questions as possible. तो सेटा कोन हबो तार बेनिफिट या कि आपण टाइमली पेपर कंप्लीट करबा जानि परिबे. Someone was asking me the other day कि in the last video कि केतेरा questions हमें attend करबा कथा, how many questions should one ideally attempt. I would suggest you should attempt all the questions. मु 2019 OMAS exam रे paper 1 रे सबतक क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट करथली, paper 2 रे भी सबतक क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट करथली. Because in these exams what happens is when both the papers are taken for merit, so people who tend to maximize their score by attempting all the questions, they always have higher chances of getting through. So I suggest and I sincerely advise, attempt all the questions, all the 200 questions, paper 100, paper 200, सब questions exam रे attempt करके आसंदो. In fact, in UPSC civil services and OPSC civil services also, this is a good strategy. At least UPSC re paper 2 re to sabu questions attempt kari hueni because of the time constraint and the increasing difficulty level of the questions. But again, in paper 1, mostly 90 to 90 90 to 100 ta bhitari you should attempt somewhere in between that to be on the safer side. Now, how can you do this? How will you be able to attempt questions whose answers you are not sure about? तो यार strategy है कि आपण जते बेले टेस्ट सीरीज सॉल्व करूछंती टेस्ट सीरीज क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करूछंती सेते बेले आपण गेसिंग प्रैक्टिस करंदो. गेसिंग प्रैक्टिस माने यू हैव टू टेक एजुकेटेड गेसेस. आपण पैटर्न स्टडी करंदो कि को टाइप रो क्वेश्चन आसुची, फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन आसुची कि बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग टेस्ट करिया पे क्वेश्चन आसुची. सेकंड जिंस आपण एटा देखिया पे चेष्टा करंदो कि कौन सी भी एग्जाम पे. आई एम नॉट स्पेसिफिकली टेलिंग दिस फॉर द ओएमएस. दिस इक्वली होल्ड्स ट्रू फॉर यूपीएससी सिविल सर्विसेज, फॉर ओपीएससी सिविल सर्विसेज, फॉर एएसओ, फॉर द ओएमएस आल्सो. जो क्वेश्चंस आसुची आपणकर गोटे कैंडिडेट को से क्वेश्चन रे जे क्वेश्चन सेटर से कोठी ताको भूल करबा पे चाहूची. You need to find out where really the the question setter wants or expects you to commit a mistake. Once you identify that area, you can get the knack of it. Say for example, what happens is in many exams they give you some data, some facts. Most of the time that is wrong because certainly as a class 1 officer or as an officer for that matter, you are not expected to remember all the very minute stats and details because those will be there on paper. You can always refer to them. But जेतेबेले someone is expecting you to remember the facts and data ता माने सेठी जेतेबेले facts and data दोजी सेटा माने भूल हेतिबो in all likelihood. तो जदि आपण सेटा को eliminate करि पारुछन देखंतु कि जदि गोटे ऑप्शन बळुची, that is most likely the correct answer. So say there are different elimination strategies. Maybe in a separate video we will discuss all the strategies to solve all the multiple choice questions in the different examinations. Certainly possible we will do it before the ESO examination. But by and large, this is the strategy. You have to use intelligent guesswork techniques to eliminate the options from the questions and maximize the number of attempts. That will maximize your score. For the second paper, for the first paper, yes, one more thing. For the current affairs portion पे कौन करंतु किसी भी गोटे आपण मटेरियल नियंतु जेमति कि फॉर एग्जांपल बैंकर्स अड्डा रहला कि विजन आईएसपीटी 365 फॉर यूपीएससी आईएएस प्रिपरेशन कोन हबा कि तार ये डिफर करि जिवो माने तार फोकस एरियाज डिफर करि जिवो. That's the reason I would not although I had suggested you to refer to civil services preparation materials in the last video, especially for the current affairs portion. But here I think that will not be a very foolproof strategy because theek achi, those will cover all the important portions, no doubt. But there you will be finding many areas from which OPSC is not asking questions. So that is the reason why I am telling you to first refer to all the previous year questions of OPSC in particular. That will help you to identify which kind of current affairs are being asked. Say for example sports, if they are asking from sports, if they are asking from entertainment, then you can take up a material which is covering these sections. Vision IAS is not going to cover any entertainment portion for that matter. तो आपण आगो प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन देखंतु तापरे अकॉर्डिंगली आपण डिसाइड करंतु गोटे किछि फैक्चुअल ये नियंतु. सपोजिंग आपण बैंकर्स अड्डा नेले कि किछि गोटे इंस्टीट्यूट रो फैक्चुअल हैंडआउट किछि गोटे नेले. Again disclaiming that I am not promoting any specific institute. किछि भी आपण नै परबे anything which you are comfortable with. बहुत आजिकली बाहरची and almost each of them is at par with the other in terms of quality. तो आपण सेथिरु बस पूरा entire गोटे year someone was asking me कि केते टाइम रो देखिबा कथा current affairs. I would suggest for 1 year, for one complete year. If the exam you expect the exam to be held after 2 or 3 months of filling the application, but again there is nothing official on this side. Certainly I cannot also say. You can expect, yes, they may allow you at least 2 months. Again, OPSC has got the discretion, the government has got the discretion to conduct the examination earlier. Jadi hauchi अलगा कथा, otherwise not. जिते बड़े भी होबो एग्जाम फॉर दैट मैटर यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट एटलीस्ट आपन को 15 डेज 1 मंथ 2 मंथ एमती टाइम तो मिल जिवो. तो जेबे एग्जाम होबो तारो आपण एक्सपेक्ट करंतु कि 1 or 2 मंथ्स पूर्वरु क्वेश्चंस तार तयारी होबो. तो जेते बळे क्वेश्चन तयारी होबो जो मासरे आपण एक्सपेक्ट करचंती तारो 1 ईयर पूर्वरु लेट्स से यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट कि क्वेश्चंस एबे अक्टोबर अराउंड धरा तयारी होबो. लेट्स अज्यूम तो अक्टोबर 2021 रु स्टार्ट करी कि अक्टोबर 2022 पर्यंत ऑल द करंट अफेयर्स यू शुड बी कवरिंग. किसी भी गोटे एनुअल हैंडआउट नहीं जानतु और किसी भी मंथली हैंडआउट्स नहीं कि आपण यू कैन जस्ट highlight the important current affairs which have good chances of being asked in the exam. Take a note of them, just revise them. Now coming to paper 2. Paper 2 holds importance in the OMS examination because of the fact that the marks secured in paper 2 are taken for merit. So what you can do is, again, as I had told, I would reiterate the importance of the previous year questions. Seta niyantu apna previous year question ro apna kon hoye ki bahut guda question they tend to get repeated. You will yourself see it when you solve the previous year questions of the paper 2 for all the examinations conducted by OPSC. You can see it for yourself to what extent questions are getting repeated, be it in English, be it in aptitude, be it in reasoning. Some questions have got a decent chance of getting repeated and they do get repeated. So आपन को सेथरो गोटे गुड क्वेश्चन बैंक मिल जिवो. That will give you, I think, enough practice. Secondly, you can identify the areas. अपन area identify कर दे परिवे को areas रो questions आसुची. Say for example in the reasoning section, in the aptitude section, and accordingly you can refer to any good book. I had referred, I think, to Aryan publication. There is one book for this quantitative aptitude and all. From that you can just find out the important formula for solving these questions quickly. How आपण सेटा को एम्प्लॉय करके एग्जाम में you can solve the just practice is the key to the second paper. Much cannot be said about that. The other day someone was asking me that whether reading the newspaper is mandatory or not. See, a time has come where candidates have been able to get through the UPSC civil service as well without reading newspapers. But if you are reading newspapers, it is actually a good habit and you should continue that. Why? Because you will be in touch with the current affairs, with the issues going on around you. And when you will be reading or referring to these monthlies or these handouts, yearly handouts, आपको एमती लागिवनी कि you are trying to memorize something given out to you. आपको लागिव कि हाँ ए जिनस तो मैं पढ़ी थी newspaper रे. So they won't appear new. That will become your first revision. For those of you who have not read the newspaper, certainly there is nothing to be worried about. आपण आराम से किसी भी गोटे हैंडआउट ईयरली उठांतु और ता देहरु देखि दियंतु. बस you need to, after all, at the end of the day, you need to know कि which are the important issues which have taken place all around the year and which have got a decent chance of being asked. Secondly, if you are joining in a test series रो गोटे added benefit होची कि any institute which is trying to come up with their own test series, they will always try to identify all the important areas and will frame questions, or will at least try to frame questions in such a way that in the real examination most of the questions tend to get repeated from those areas. So at the end they can say कि चलो आमर टेस्ट सीरीज रो एते क्वेश्चंस आसिला डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली. So when you are going for any test series, so what you are essentially doing is you are essentially outsourcing all this thing कि previous year question देखा जाओ, areas, important areas identify करा जाओ. You are outsourcing all these things to the institute, that they are doing it for you and you are simply solving the questions, and those questions will essentially give you a good question bank कि AA questions they have a probability of being asked in the examination, irrespective of whether they actually tend to get asked or not. They will certainly cover all the important themes and important areas from which questions may be asked. So if you are solving one question in a test series, maybe by using the knowledge from that you will be able to solve a question in the real exam. And in the same breath, I think it's important to again highlight the importance of looking at the answer keys of all the questions after you attempt a test. Now, we have addressed how many questions need to be attempted, all as I said. Then coming to the 2019 OMS examination, what was the vacancy? See, the vacancy position was 28 last time around as well. If I can rightly recall, it was 28. But I would suggest you please visit the website and please check the notification once again. That has to be there in the archives. So please check it there once again. तो ସେଥିରୁ ଆପଣ ଜାଣିପାରିବେ last କେତେ ବାହାରିଥିଲା. But most probably, if my mind serves me right, if my memory serves me right, it was 28. Because final list re bhi 28 candidates got selected. OPSC recommended 28 candidates. So 28 ଭିତରେ 9 ଜଣ women were included, including 9 women. 28 was the final number of selected candidates. 68 candidates were selected from the written test in 2019 who were called for the interview. 68. That was in 2019. The score, if I can tell you the cutoff score was, the cutoff marks for document verification, that is, the written cutoff, out of 200 plus 200, 400 marks, the written cutoff, category wise, I'll tell first for male and category, then for female for the same category. For unreserved, the cutoff mark for male was 290.159. For female, it was 263.707. For SCBC, male, it was 273.380. For female SCBC, it was 248.495. For scheduled caste, male, it was 253.855. For female, it was 214.796. For scheduled tribes, male, it was 227.167. For female, ST, 202.409. This was the cutoff for the written examination. Written re एतिकी cutoff थिला जो माने आ ऊपर को रखथिले तांकू document verification पे डका जाइथिला. NB, nota bene, qualifying mark was 50% for all, irrespective of category, in the written exam. So, expecting that the same holds true this time around as well, you should expect to get, you should be able to get at least 50% marks, 50% above marks in the written examination itself. The highest and the lowest marks of finally selected candidates in 2019 is as follows. For unreserved, male, highest mark was 347.107. This is out of 450 marks. 400 marks in written plus 50 marks in interview. The lowest mark for unreserved male final selected candidate was 327.097. For unreserved female, highest was 330.861 and the lowest was 307.853. For SCBC male, the highest mark was 323.063. The lowest was 323.063. For female, the highest was 287.211. The lowest was again 287.211. For SC scheduled caste male, the highest mark was 299.157. The lowest was 288.855. For female SC, the highest mark was 277.808 and the lowest 277.808. For ST scheduled tribe male, highest was 277.388 and the lowest was 259.419. For scheduled tribe female, the highest mark was 297.739 and the lowest was 297.739. So ମୁଁ ଭାବୁଛି that will give you a good picture of how much mark you should aim for, at least, at the very least. Again, year on year it will differ. It does not mean that this year the cutoffs are going to be exactly the same. Certainly बढ़ी भी जाइपारे कमी भी जाइपारे. No one can guarantee that. So you should target a safe score for yourself by keeping in your mind the cutoff for 2019. Now after this session, immediately I will come live once again. So in that separate live session, I will tell you about the job profile in brief. ठीक है? So thank you. जय जगन्नाथ.